Hi, everyone who's joined. We're starting a little bit late. My apologies, but I think there will still be some people joining us as we go. So we're going to record this session and share it afterwards. My name is Anne Whitehead. I am the head of marketing and communications at David Game Higher Education. And today we're going to talk about the HND program. Specifically, we've got two that are starting quite soon in May for public services and for business. So welcome. We'll talk a little bit about what the HND Higher National Diploma is. We'll also be providing a masterclass for business and for public services. So there'll be two of them. After that, at 5 p.m., we'll talk with our admissions department, talk about how to apply. And we'll talk a little bit more about why studying is more than just a degree. We're actually going to have a couple of our students with us to share their experience. So let's dive right in. Like I mentioned, I'm Anne, you can see me there. Later on, we're going to be hearing from Maitali. Maitali is our head of admissions. Then for those who are interested in the School of Business, we'll be providing another link right after my introduction where you can watch a special, or actually participate in a special session for our business program. And then right here, you don't have to go anywhere. If you're interested in our School of Public Services, we've got our program manager, Jack, who's going to take us through an activity. And I should say Alexander will also be with Stephen, representing our business department. So each of them are going to give you a taste of what it's like to study an HND at DGHE. So first, who's DGHE? What are we? Well, we're a diverse community, we're inclusive. You may notice that my accent doesn't sound like the average British accent. I'm Canadian, and my colleagues here are from Greece and from Brazil and from all over the place. We really like to welcome different cultures here at DGHE, right into the center of the City of London. I just wanted to show you a little bit more about what makes DGHE special. So beyond the fact that we're striving for success and respecting each and every one of our individuals, we really do put students at the center of our college. Unlike some larger universities that you can start to feel a bit just like a number, we have small class sizes. We have a pretty friendly environment. We've also got a lot of extra support. We've got a well-being counselor. We've got a careers advisor who is actually available not only to our current students, but also our alumni. Then we try to make it a little bit easier for people who are balancing many things in their life. So you can study in the daytimes, or you can study evenings and weekends if you happen to be working. And typically our courses are only studying 2 days per week. So like I said, we're going to be talking mostly about the two higher national diploma HND courses that start in May. One is focusing in business, the other is public services. Just one more thing to say that we do have a lot of one-to-one support at DGHE. So if at any point you want to follow up with us, please email us, get in touch. Ask your questions from the very beginning, even before you study with us. We want to make it as simple and easy as possible for you to work out your application. And then once you're with us, we have study skills tutors. We have, like I said, the well-being and careers counselors, and we just have smaller class sizes and more time directly with your professors and lecturers. So what is a higher national diploma? Well, a higher national diploma is not as long as a degree, but it still qualifies you for quite a few of the career paths that are out there. It's quicker. It's a more direct route than going to university. It's typically 2 years, and you study while you work. So even a full-time course is probably only going to take you about two days of classes a week. And if you have kids or if you have a job, this is something that you can do while you balance out the rest of your life. Like I said, there's going to be some options with most of our courses. Either you can study in the daytime or you can study evenings and Saturdays. So an HND course will get you into the career a little faster than a degree, but it will give you a qualification that should prepare you for lots of careers out there. Just to follow up on that, like I said, it's a 2-year course. It's also more affordable than a degree because it's a little shorter, and we do have student loans available. Then we try to integrate as much as possible hands-on practical experience. So there's going to be field trips, there's going to be activities for our public services department and our business. You'll get a taste of that in the sessions to come. We also try to bring the real world into the classroom as much as we can. So we have talks and activities with employers and industry experts. We try not to go overboard on exams, less exams, more practical tasks. We also pardon me, we also make it a little easier for you to start the HND by accepting a variety of different qualifications. And HND is typically a level 4, level 5, so you may have a level 3 education coming in. If you don't know what that means, or you're from abroad like myself, our admissions department will be online shortly to give you a little more information on that. So one more thing about the HND is that we actually take most of our courses, take in new students 3 times a year, which means you don't have to wait quite as long. So we had a new cohort start with us in January. We're going to have our next cohort start in May, and it's not too late to apply to be part of us then, and the following one in September. As I mentioned, these courses are giving loans, and we also have other additional finance available. So we'll give you some more information about that, and you can find it on our website, dghe.ac.uk. So before we go into the sessions, I just want to give you a quick taste of what we actually study. Again, this is available on our website, but you can see on the left, we've got HND Business, and on the right, we've got HND Public Services. This is an example of what the modules are, what exactly you would be learning in these courses, the ones we offer at DGHE in the first year and the second year. So as you can see with business, there's some introductory courses about the business environment, marketing processes, human resources, leadership and management, accounting principles, managing a successful project, innovation, commercialization, operations, etc. So you really just you dive into the fundamentals of business management. And in the second part, you're able to take on a research project. You get deeper into organizational behavior, pitching, strategy, sales, managing and running a small business, which is helpful, especially for those who have or are planning to start their own small business. Also statistics for management. So this course is going to set you up quite well to either be employed at a management level, which some of our, many of our students are actually already in work, and they're looking to progress into a management level. So it can help with that career progression, help with increasing your earnings, and it can also help for those who have a more entrepreneurial spirit and need some more skill building and foundation to run their own business. On the other side with public services, so this will set you up to most likely be employed by the public sector, possibly with police or investigations or criminal justice. So you start off with, organizational structure, culture, looking into issues of mental health, equity, diversity, public services and contemporary society. So you're getting a larger view of the system that you would be working in. Specifically, there's more of a focus in this course towards crime, community safety, law and legal systems, the third sector and public services, psychology of behavior. So that's in your first year. And in the second, you're looking a little deeper, you're getting reflective professional practice, looking into youth offenders, contemporary issues, sociological issues. There's also an opportunity from this course to go into the prison systems, or there's offenders management here, justice, punishment, rehabilitation, theories of crime, and also a research project. So this is what you can expect to be learning and practicing in the 2 years of the 2 HNDs that we have coming up in May that we're currently accepting applications. Before I finish off here, and we will have opportunities for questions, but I just want to give you a sense of what you can look forward to at the end of an HND course, if this is the choice for you. So the first route you can do is you've got confidence, you've got more specialist knowledge, you've got essential skills, and you can go straight into your career. In the case of public services, we often have police come into the school to meet with and prepare the recruitment process for our graduates. We also have other public services opportunities through our careers department. And if you decide that in fact you'd like to do further education, you can choose a top up. So on the public services side, we have a criminology top up. We also have a business top up. So if you do a top up, that's just one more year and you receive the full bachelor's honors degree, which means that with an HND, you're breaking down the degree. You can choose to only do 2 years, or you can choose to get a full degree, and you don't have to commit to the 3 years right away. Hi, Jack.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So we got a couple people here ready to learn a little bit more about the public services HND. I've taken people through just an introduction to DGHE. I've shown them the module of public services, and now I'd like to hand it over to you for the next half hour or so. Just so you know, some people might be coming and going in the background. So we are recording this session so that we'll be able to share it with those who either couldn't make it or joined late. So on that note, I will hand it over to you, Jack. Please introduce us to what you'd like to say today.
Great. Thank you for that introduction. Hi to everybody, all of our attendees. I'm Jack. I'm Program Manager for the HND in Public Services and the BSc top-up in Criminology and Criminal Justice. When I was invited to talk to you today about the course, what we deliver, give you a little taster, if you like, of what we deliver. I was thinking a sort of really topical subject matter to which to talk to you about, something that we deliver. And I remembered a conversation that I had with my own students almost 4 weeks ago to the day, on the 8th of March, which of course was International Women's Day. And I didn't realize, I'm going to show my ignorance here, I'm going to admit, I didn't realize how important this celebration was to my student body, to our student body at DGHE, and how this is celebrated across our sort of diverse student body. And so I thought I'm going to deliver a little bit of a session on the subject of gender, and really understands the importance of gender within the discipline of criminology and criminal justice. And the reason for that largely is because of how overlooked the subject matter of gender has been, particularly women's concerns, how overlooked this has been in our discipline. If we consider the history of criminology and criminal justice studies, you know, we understand our current criminal justice system, for example, from the 17th, 18th century. In terms of morals, what is right and what is wrong, we can understand from philosophy many centuries before that. And it wasn't until the 1960s, 70s that actually a feminist critique of criminology emerged within our discipline. And as a result, then, we can understand that focusing on women within crime and criminology and criminal justice is actually a relatively new area of interest. There is, as you can see on screen here, I've written a gender blindness that has plagued the discipline, to put it bluntly, since its inception. And really it was Carol Smart who really put feminism within criminology and drove feminism within the discipline in the sort of 1970s. And you can see from a really interesting quote, or at least I think it's really interesting here, that our knowledge is still in its infancy in comparison with the massive documentation on all aspects of male delinquency and criminality. The amount of work carried out on the area of women and crime is extremely limited. And that was in the 1970s. So since then, we've started to consider the sort of feminist perspective within criminology a little bit more. I want to share with you something else in relation to this. What we're going to be looking at in this sort of really sort of brief taster session is some of the major arguments as to why perhaps there is a gender gap within criminal justice system. Looking at sort of theoretical perspectives to understand this gap in relation to gender and crime, and evaluate the components of some of those explanations, some of those theoretical perspectives. And it's really key to evaluate and critique, to challenge the status quo. So that's what we're going to be doing. And I want to start really by considering whether or not gender matters. And this really is brought into sort of practical sense by Wootton, by her saying, if men behaved like women, the courts would be idle and the prisons empty. It's a really sort of profound quote. And I'd be interested if, sort of by a show of hands of our attendees, how you interpret this quote. What do you think Wootton means by this quote? If men behaved like women, the courts would be idle and the prisons empty. Are there any thoughts on that? Richard, is there anything that you have to say on this quote? Men behave like women, the courts would be idle, the prisons empty.
Richard, I could say my own opinion on this, but I've allowed you to talk if you'd like to unmute yourself.
Great, thanks, Anne. No, okay, it's that's fine. It's just sort of looking to see where our brains immediately take us to on the subject of gender, without sort of academic teaching, of course, on the subject. What I would invite you to do is to keep this quote in mind, particularly as we start to break it down into criminal justice matters. So if you can see from the chart here, this is a chart that represents the prison population, and we can see that overwhelmingly males dominate in the prison statistics. 95% of our prison population is made up of men, meaning that only around about 5% of our prison population is made up of women. So in answering the question as to whether gender matters, it absolutely matters to understand the huge, grave disparity that exists within and throughout the criminal justice system. And this is an area for investigation that, as academics, as students of both public service who work and operate in the prison system, but all the way throughout the criminal justice system, needs to be concerned with, to understand the different divisions, the different diversities that exist within our society. If we break that down a little bit further, we can actually see that there are huge disparities right across crime and criminal justice. And this table really represents these disparities in relation to particular offences. So the differences in offending patterns, offending behaviours. So taking a look at just a couple of these, what we can see with regards to sexual offences is that males dominate this crime from 75 to 1. So there is, for every 75 sexual offenders that are male, there is only 1 female. If we look at other offences such as violence against the person, we can see that there's 5.7 male offenders of this crime to just 1 female offender. And indictable is a really important word in relation to this, because indictable suggests that it's the most serious violence against the person. If it's indictable, you know, we're not just talking about a common assault, which you can see above, which is summary. We're actually talking sort of ABH, perhaps GBH offences. And actually, the only offence groupings where women dominate the statistics is television licence evasion and prostitution. These are the only offence groupings where women form a majority in these offences. And I would also invite you to take a look and compare the different types of offences from where males dominate, which is these sort of first three brackets, the top three brackets here, in comparison to the bottom bracket where women form a majority. These at the bottom here are less serious offences, right? So we need to keep this in mind when we're comparing these offence groupings and which gender dominates these offence groupings. But this is not just a matter for prison populations and you know, the differences in offending behaviour. We can see it throughout the criminal justice process. Okay, men and women make up around about half the population each, right? But there are vast inequalities that persist throughout the criminal justice process when we consider the arrest rates where males dominate, prosecution rates, again, males dominate, convictions, remanded, which means that you know, the defendant is denied bail and therefore held in custody pending their trial. They've not even been found guilty yet. They're held in prison, and men are more likely to be remanded in custody pending trial. Women more likely to be granted bail. And we've just spoken about the prison population. So this has to be an area for concern among academics, among public service students, criminology students, and students who are interested in the social world. So those are the statistics, those are the sort of the facts. And now I would like you to sort of reflect on perhaps some possible explanations as to why that might be. Why you think men commit more crime than women, or to ask the same question a little bit differently, perhaps why women commit less crime than men. Anybody have any thoughts on this notion?
We have a quiet group with us today, Jack.
We do, and that's absolutely fine. This is all about sort of reflection and thinking. You know, these are really complex questions, and I'll speak a little bit later on the importance of looking beyond simplistic answers to these extremely complex questions, because that's exactly what they are. That we sort of assume that we understand the social world really, really well, and it comes easy, natural, until we actually start asking these really problematic questions. And they do take sort of time to study, to read up, and to really think about, okay, yeah, why is it that men, why, you know, how can we explain those huge, vast disparities that I've just presented to you? Well, of course, within a sort of practical, along with theoretical course, there are a number of explanations as to why this might be the case. And I'm going to start with sex role theory. Now, sex role theory assumes that, quite simply, boys and girls are socialized differently. Yeah, boys and girls are brought up with different influences in the household, parents, schooling, and even wider society. We have different experiences as we're growing up. When we're learning about normal behavior, when we're having those values instilled into us, boys and girls have different experiences of that. And as a result of those differences, boys are more likely to become delinquent. That's what sex role theory states, generally speaking. There are a multitude of versions of sex role theory. I just want to focus on two today, particularly because of the time constraints that we have. And I will focus on Edwin Sutherland's version and Talcott Parsons. Now, they both subscribe to this sex role theory, but slightly differently. So starting with Sutherland then, he said that there are two main gender differences within this socialization process, the way in which we're brought up. First of all, girls are more closely supervised. They're more strictly controlled. And you might be able to sort of empathize this with this a little bit if you have siblings of the opposite sex and you think back to your childhood, or if you are a parent and have children of the opposite sex as well, you might socialize in this way. And you might reflect upon or remember when you were a child, if you were a girl, then perhaps you had more sort of tight restrictions in terms of where you were allowed to go out and play, the time in which you were required to come back as stipulated by your parents, in comparison to perhaps your brother, who was able to go off the estate, who had an infinite time to go out and play and not have these such tight restrictions in terms of when they needed to be home. They had more freedom, right? That's what Edwin Sutherland says in terms of the socialization process. But also he says that boys are more likely to be encouraged to take risks and to be tough and aggressive. We sort of see this in everyday life, really, particularly in sport. Boys are encouraged to participate in sports such as football, rugby, wrestling, boxing. But what all of these sports have in common is that they're contact sports. They require aggression. They require toughness. And those values, those sort of personality traits, if you like, they're not confined to the sport. They spill out into the social world, right? Into their experiences when they go out to play, when they're with their friends. And so we see those values expressed in wider society as well. And as a result of that, boys, quite simply put, they have more opportunity, but most importantly, they have more inclination to commit crime because they have their values and they're taught those values of aggression and of toughness, and they're taught that this is correct, that this is right. So as a result, they're more likely to commit crime. So that's Edwin Sutherland's version of the sex role theory. Talcott Parsons' version of the sex role theory is that he refers to different roles within the nuclear family. Now, the nuclear family, first of all, assumes that there is a mother, there is a father, and there's about 2 children. And there are clearly defined gender roles within that family. There is the instrumental role, which is performed by the father. He's the leader, he's the provider, he goes out to work, puts food on the table. The expressive role is performed by the mother. And part of her role is to provide emotional support to the family and to socialize the children, to bring the children up, right? Now, what does this have to do with crime? Well, Parsons says that girls have a readily available female role model at home, their mother. Yeah, they're there, they're performing the expressive role, they're in the household. So they have a readily available female role model. But boys, because their father is performing the instrumental role, because he is out providing, out to work, etc., they have less access to a male role model. And so what happens when boys get to sort of early adolescence, according to Parsons, sort of 11, 12, 13 years old, they tend to reject the femininity that they've been brought up with from their mother and to compulsively pursue masculinity. And again, here we have an emphasis on toughness, we have an emphasis on aggression. And again, which we already know from Sutherland, can encourage antisocial behavior and delinquency. And that is why the family structure, the different roles that are assigned to each gender within that family, can encourage and lead to criminal tendencies in adolescence and adult offending. So it's the family structure. Now, consider when Parsons was writing, right? 1955, quite dated. And so we must absolutely evaluate this, and on this basis, okay? Now, because women give birth to, or mothers give birth to, and nurse breastfeed children, Parsons sees women as biologically adapted to a nurturing and caring role. It's within their biology that they are just naturally nurturing. They're naturally able to socialize and bring up a family, bring up children. However, this is not a biological role. Socializing, bringing children up is not a biological role, any more in female biology than it is in male biology. And we can sort of evidence that by looking and comparing these family structures to same-sex family structures, for example, right? So that's why I sort of pointed out in the previous slide to really look at the year of which Parsons was writing, because it's outdated. If we consider the family structure, a common family structure today, it's probably different from what it was in the 1950s, where the nuclear family probably dominated with a mother, father, and a couple of kids. Is not necessarily the case now. Yeah, we have a whole diverse range of families, same-sex families, step families, extended families, etc. So it's not that translatable in the 21st century, and we need to be aware of that. So there are flaws within that theory. This is a sort of a meme that I came across on social media, which I thought was really perfect for another explanation as to the gender differences in offending between men and women. Only a true gentleman knows what is wrong with this picture. Any of my audience today hazard a guess, or maybe you know what is wrong with this picture? No? Okay. I must say, sorry, there was a...
Can I guess, Jack?
Yes, of course, please do.
Since I see all of our attendees are quiet, which is fine, but you guys are welcome to speak in the chat, and we can also open your mic to speak publicly if you'd like. Just put up your hand or speak in the chat. This one I've seen before. I'm not sure if it's a common thing, but they say that the gentleman's supposed to be on the roadside and the lady's supposed to be inside. Is that what's wrong?
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly the assumption that is wrong with this picture. Yeah, men must protect women, shouldn't they, from incoming traffic, even when you're on the pavement. Perhaps it's assuming that women can't walk in a straight line. I'm not sure what it is, but it brings me on to the sort of academic point, which is chivalry, right? And the chivalry thesis that sort of links this into gender differences in crime. Now, chivalry generally, or contemporary understandings of chivalry, it's got archaic understandings, something to do with combat, but contemporary understandings of chivalry is basically treating others, but especially women, with courtesy, with sympathy, and with respect. So the chivalry thesis, to link this to criminal justice system, is the basic assumption that women are treated more leniently than men by the criminal justice system. And that's why we see those huge disparities that I alluded to with the statistics within the criminal justice system from a few slides ago. So police, as a result of this chivalrousness, if that's a word, really they're much less likely to charge women, and the courts tend to give them lighter sentences, even if they've committed the same offences as men. This is the assumption, yeah, because simply because they are women. And if we consider police as an institution, the courts as an institution, certainly the prison service as an institution, they are male-dominated. In large parts, they're male-dominated, and as a result, we'll see women with courtesy, with sympathy, and with respect, and therefore sort of turn a blind eye, or at least, at the very least, treat them much more leniently compared to men. Now, that's quite basic, and I want to counter that with another understanding of gender differences, which is double deviance. Now, this states that women are treated actually more harshly by the criminal justice system because they're doubly deviant. Not only have they deviated from social norms by breaking the law, but they've also deviated from the gender norms which state how women should behave. Society places these typical gender roles, these gender norms, gender laws, if you like, on how women should behave. And men and women have different gender norms, right? Men can be promiscuous, but women cannot. Men can go to the pub and drink 10 pints of lager, but women absolutely not. That's cannot be done. Yeah, this is how we're sort of brought up to believe. And as a result, then, many women feel that they've been treated much more harshly by the criminal justice system. They see it, as I've just mentioned previously, as a very male-dominated institution. I've just seen a question on the chat of what is the CJS. The CJS is the criminal justice system, right? So this is just a shorthand for the criminal justice system. Good question. Absolutely need to be clear on these acronyms, but what you will see the criminal justice system abbreviated to or initialized to is the criminal justice system. Okay. So yeah, they feel like they've been even more harshly treated by the criminal justice system in comparison to men. And I want to sort of explain this using a case study, because we can perhaps, or at least I'm going to attempt to argue this in real time. Some of these people on screen might be familiar to you, perhaps not to others, and that's fine. So these two girls here in their Manchester United jerseys, these were kidnapped and murdered by Ian Huntley, who's pictured here. Now, the reason why this relates to double deviance is because Ian Huntley was the caretaker of Holly and Jessica, the victims of this heinous crime, at the school of Holly and Jessica. And when he came home from work, he said to Maxine Carr, who's pictured here, Ian Huntley's fiance at the time, look, there's loads of police at the school. I've no idea what's gone on, but you know, if anybody comes knocking, I don't think they will, but if anybody comes knocking, can you say that I got home a little bit earlier than I actually did? Now, it's really impossible to say whether you would oblige to that request or not, but bear in mind this is a fiance, a loving fiance, who, you know, and I actually defy anybody to at least sort of consider it, right? Well, Maxine Carr did consider it, and she went through with it. When the police came knocking, they said, no, Ian Huntley's got home at a particular time, when actually he didn't. When it later transpired that Ian Huntley did murder these two girls, he went away for a long, long time and currently resides in prison. Maxine Carr also got a sentence of a few years for perverting the course of justice. So that was her breaking the law. But because of the detail, because of the case, the facts of the case of this particular one involved children, where women are supposed to be nurturing, they're supposed to be caring, they're supposed to be mothers, right? Even that's a gender expectation. The way in which particularly the public reacted was almost as if she killed the two girls herself, which she didn't. She got death threats, there was huge moral public outrage. And this is because she broke both social norms, but also gender norms. So we can actually see double deviance in play. Nobody knows who Maxine Carr is anymore. Nobody knows where she is. She's got a completely new identity, completely new address. Nobody knows because the criminal justice system was very much in fear for her life. So nobody knows who or where she is. And perhaps we could put this down to double deviance. So now, in terms of weighing all of this up, I want you to think back to those statistics that I presented to you from earlier on, which outlined that after arrest, women are more likely than men to be cautioned rather than charged. They're less likely than men to be remanded in custody or committed for trial. So remember, remand is where they go straight into prison pending trial. They've not been found guilty yet. And when women are sent to prison, they receive shorter sentences than men, okay? So this appears to suggest that the chivalry thesis is correct, that women are treated more leniently than men. However, we need to make meaningful comparisons. When we're comparing like for like, we need to take into account the seriousness of the offences and the differences in offending history. What we need to weigh up are the aggravating and mitigating circumstances. The aggravating circumstances making prosecution and conviction more likely versus the mitigating circumstances, those factors that make prosecution and conviction less likely. Okay. Now, quite simply put, the aggravating and mitigating circumstances between men and women. Women's offences, again, going back to that table that I showed you earlier on, women's offences tend to be less serious than men. And women are also less likely to have a criminal record. So if you don't have a criminal record, then you're likely to get a much lighter sentence if you go in if your case is proceeded with. So actually, what it suggests is that there isn't any sort of systematic bias for or against women. That actually the criminal justice system does a pretty good job of weighing up aggravating and mitigating circumstances and the facts of the case and coming to an outcome. So actually, despite the statistics suggesting the chivalry thesis is correct, that's not necessarily the case. Okay. Okay, I'm conscious of time, so I'm wrapping up. I know that people will be conscious of this as well. The sort of message that I wanted to get with this is not necessarily, you know, a lecture or a workshop or a session on gender and crime per se, but actually that in studying at DGHE, you are going to be coming across a number of theoretical perspectives. You're going to be coming across contrasting explanations, such as some of the ones that I've suggested to you today, on a whole range of phenomena. So what we must do is we must make meaningful comparisons to what we're studying. We need to challenge, we need to critique. Essentially what I'm saying to you is that we need to use our social scientific imagination. Now, public services sits within the School of Social Science and Health. So we do come across quite a lot of social science in this, and you can see C. Wright Mill's sociological imagination here. What this says is something that I alluded to beforehand. What we study is extremely complex. Not in that it's hard and that it's difficult, but it's complex, it's multifaceted, it's very nuanced. There are multiple explanations, multiple truths, in fact. So what we must do as students and academics is we must go way beyond those simplistic answers to what are extremely complex questions. And that is what is applying the social scientific imagination. It's breaking down, it's uncovering the different nuances, as I've just mentioned, that exist within the phenomena of which you're studying. And that's what we will be exploring throughout your course on public services and hopefully into level 6 top-up criminology.
Thank you so much, Jack.
Thank you.
Before we let you go, so we're going to have Maithili, our head of admissions, join us. There we go. I see Maithili is already here. Welcome, Maithili.
Hi, Anne.
Hi. So Jack, it was great to thank you so much for that initial lecture. Before we let Jack go, I'm not sure how many participants we have with us at this moment. I see them coming and going, but just wanted to remind you, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. Also, we will make this video recording available for those who want to watch it afterwards. Jack, do you have any final words on, why an HND in public services might be a good direction for some people who are here?
Yeah, I mean, the HND Public Services offers so many employability opportunities. It's not, although my session just there has been on the criminal justice system, it's not the only thing that you study at DGHE. It's much wider, it's much broader than that. There are so many employability opportunities. When we consider the third sector and voluntary sectors, for example, which are huge employers in the UK, looking at really interesting subjects, topics, social issues, we've just, we're coming at the back end of a pandemic whereby we've seen more than ever the value of third sector supporting the public sector. So I would heartily recommend this qualification to anybody interested in society, in the social world, and exploring that and going and looking for that as a career.
Thank you so much, Jack. So if you want to get in touch with Jack, there's the contact on our website, and we can connect you with him. And now I'd like to pass it over to our head of admissions. Have a great day, Jack. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Melanie. See you soon.
Thanks mightily.
Thanks.
So please take us through how do we, what qualifies us to be part of an HND, and how do we apply?
Sure. Good afternoon, guys. First of all, thank you so much for joining us on this virtual open day. So I will be going through the entry requirements and the admissions process in terms of how to apply and everything. So if you are planning to start the HND in public services with us, so our intake will be starting in 9th of May. So in terms of entry requirements, we will need to have applicant must have qualifications equivalent to level 3, if not level 2 plus work experience. In terms of work experience, we will need at least 2 years of work experience with a certain relevant experiences. So if you have managerial, supervisor, team leader, you have a healthcare assistant, support worker, we would accept these types of references. Of course, sometimes we will verify the references. So we will check with the companies to confirm the reference that you have provided is correct or not. In terms of, we may have some overseas qualification. You might have some overseas qualification. You're not sure what it is equivalent to. Do not worry. You can always send us your qualifications to us. We can check against the ECTIS, which is a qualification where we check our overseas qualification to see what is equivalent to. And if we think your qualification is equivalent to level 3, then we would consider you, then we would take you in for the HND. If we think it's equivalent to level 2, then probably we would ask you for no work experience too. And we do accept people with no formal qualification. So there's a possibility that you may have studied, but you may have lost your qualification. So we would able to take you on the basis of the mature entry route. So which means we will need to see at least work experience of 2 years, especially in a relevant work experience. In terms of the English language requirements, we have our own internal English test, which is free. So with this Pearson-Weston test, there are 4 different components we're assessing: reading, listening, speaking, and writing. Okay, and this will be done internally in the campus. So if you don't have a GCSEs English, or you don't have a level 2 English, or you don't have IELTS or Duolingo, do not worry. You can take our pre-Pearson-Weston test, and we will give you a preparation before you actually take an assessment. And if you think, oh, I didn't do well in my Pearson test, I would like to be given the option to retake, you can retake our Pearson-Weston test, or you can also attend our pre-sessional English courses, which we run for every 6 weeks before the intake starts. And then you can do the English test once you've attended the pre-sessional courses. So in terms of English language, you don't have English GCSEs or you don't have IELTS, do not worry. You can take our internal English test, and which we will prepare you for the test. We will give you a mock test before you can actually take our assessment. In terms of the qualifications, level 3, any qualifications equal to level 3. So if you want to do public services and you think I have level 3 in business, would I be eligible? Yes, you will be eligible. So we would be accepting any form of level 3 qualifications. You have A levels, that's fine. We can able to accept that too. And in terms of the student finance fundings and everything, which I'll talk to you briefly about there when it comes to the application process. So this is the entry requirements. Do we have any questions on the entry requirements? Okay, I don't see any hands up, so I'm going to go to my next slide. Okay, so what happens now? So once we finalize with your documents, once you think that you're eligible for the HND courses, you'll need to make an online application. It's very straightforward. So you can get the links by visiting our website, okay? Or you need help with the application, we are happy to guide you through those applications. You need help in uploading documents, we're happy to do that. So once you started the applications, we will get a confirmation saying that you have submitted the application. We will get in touch with you and we will review your documents and we will tell you there's some documents missing. Then we would ask you to send us an email with those documents. And once you've submitted the documents, we will invite you for an assessment. So when you're being invited for an assessment, on the same day, you'll be doing the internal English test. And if you pass the internal English test, then you will have an interview with us on the same day. This usually lasts at least 2 hours. So when you come in, we usually ask you to bring your original documents. So we ask them to verify your original documents. Once we have validated your documents, then the English test, if everything goes well with the English test, then the final stage will be the interview. So if you have been successful in the interview, we will able to issue an unconditional offer on the same day for you, okay? Once you've been accepted, once you have accepted the offer, then we will tell you further information about when it's going to be the inductions and when will be the classes will be starting and how we will be communicating with you. So once you have accepted the offer, if you need help with the next final stage will be applying for student finance, which we will also offer you support on student finance applications too. So we have a team who can help you with the student finance application. We will help you with following up with your application with student finance. So we are happy to help you from the beginning till the end stage, guys. So if you need help with applying online, you need help with uploading documents, you need help with the student finance applications, you can always approach us, you can always ask us. Our telephone numbers, our contact details, you can find them on our website, but I think Marina has already put it on the chat for you. So if you do have any questions regarding your documents, about your qualifications, or about your status in this country, I'm not sure whether I will be eligible for a student finance, do not worry, just give us a call, we will guide you through, we will give you all the information that you need. We're here to help you guys, so if you think that you're ready to start the course, please do give us a call and we will help you with all the stages of your application. Okay. Any questions regarding the application stage?
We have a pretty quiet group with us today, Maithili, but I'm glad to say that you have your email at the bottom of the slide there, admissions@dghe.ac.uk. So if anybody comes across this later or is too shy to speak, you can contact us there.
Thank you.
Maithili, we have a question from socials.
Sure.
So this person is asking, how long does it usually take for the whole process?
So with the application form, say if you submit the application on our website, we will get a confirmations tomorrow, and tomorrow one of my colleagues will contact you. So usually we try to communicate within 24 hours. So only on the weekend, we can only contact you on Monday morning, but usually if you manage to submit your applications, we will contact you within the 24 hours. So first stage will be submitting the application online. Say, for example, you start your applications today and you manage to upload everything and all your documents and everything, then one of my colleagues we will contact you tomorrow saying that you have submitted an application and we're happy with your documents, then we will book you for the assessment and everything. So usually the process will take at least 2 working days, but it depends on the flexibility of the applicants. Some applicants might be not available on the following day, but some maybe will take a week. It depends on each cases, but usually if you submit the application today, you will get a call from an admissions team within 24 hours.
Thanks,
Maitli, there is another question. I'm
Sure.
sorry. Could you explain a bit more the daytime and flexi options? Someone is asking the differences and what
Sure.
are the different options? Thank you.
So for the HND Public Services course, we have two study mode, the daytime and flexi. So the daytimes are 2 days per week. Classes are from 9 to 6 p.m. So that's the daytime. Flexi options, we have 2 evenings plus Saturdays. Evenings are from 6 to 9 and Saturday is from 9 to 6 p.m.
Great, thank you. Someone else is asking if there is any extra support when they start the course.
Yes, there is plenty of support. As you see, we are a very small college. So in terms of the numbers in the classes, you won't have more than 35 in a classroom. We offer dropping sessions. So the dropping sessions are here for, so you can have a dropping session with the career advisor, you can have a dropping session with the librarians, you can have a dropping session with the welfare officers. If you have any welfare issues, you want to speak, then you can always have a dropping sessions. We have study skill supports. So if you need some help with the IT or if you help something with referencing, then you have a study skills. We also offer support for student finance applications. So there is a wide range of supports available out there. And one good thing is that, guys, when you're submitting your assignments, I'm not sure whether Jack has covered this, sorry. So when you're submitting your assignments, you have a formative submission. This usually takes place in week 4. So the formative submissions, what it is, it's you will be asked to submit the first part of the assessment, so which probably a learning outcome or a learning outcome 1 and 2, where lecturers give you feedback to make sure that you are on the right level, on the right path. And also you can book a dropping session with your program manager. So if you're not sure, you're having some issues with the courses or you're not very clear, you can always have a dropping session with the lecturer, or you can communicate them via email. So there is plenty of support out there from the college side. So welfare, library, if you need any help with the referencing, if you need help with accessing materials with external sources, you need help with welfare support, we have those support available out there. And of course, we offer pre-sessional English courses, which is free of charge. So if you still want to make a use of this once you become a student, you are welcome to use. We have an open door service, guys. So if you need anything, you can always just come in, and you don't even need to book a drop. You don't need to make an appointment. Just come in and then speak to us. We're happy to help you. So there's plenty of support out there.
Thanks so much, Maitli. Just want to ask Constantina and Marina if you see any more questions from socials, and then in a moment we're going to be joined by our student ambassadors who will tell us a little bit about what it's like to study at DGHE. Any final questions out there? I don't see any in the group here. I think that might be it for now. All right, thanks. Well, do you have any last thoughts, Maitli, on the application process, or any final tips for anyone who may be listening now or later?
Guys, one thing I can say is we are happy to help you. So if you are planning to start the course with us, just give us a call or drop us an email. Just even come and visit us. We're in the central London, so we'll give you a nice tour around the building, and we are very lovely and we're very warm and welcome. So please do come and see us. We're happy to give you further information. We'll make sure that you are on the right course and that the right support is provided. So if you are ready to start, you know where we are. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Maitli, for spending your time with us.
Thanks, Anne.
Constantina, I just want to check in with you. I know that you've been chatting with our students. Are they ready to join us?
They should be with us any minute.
Okay, So as we look forward to them mightily, I know that you're very busy. We've got lots of applications to deal with. So if you'd like to get back to the work at hand, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Hello, Mateus.
Yes, hello, hello.
Thank you for joining us today.
Hello, hello, everyone.
Thank you. We're waiting also for the second student, Sabaz, to join us.
Okay.
Hopefully in any second, and then we can start with our questions to you.
No worries, no worries.
So today we'll be hearing from Matthias. I think we've heard but Matthias's voice already. Welcome, welcome.
Hello, hi.
Hi, Matthias is studying our HND business course, which will be having its next intake in May. So we're now up accepting applications. And we're also going to hear from Shabaz, who's part of our top-up criminology and criminal justice program. She has already gone through the public services HND and chose to top up to a full degree. And I see that Shabaz is also joining us. Welcome, Shabaz. Thanks for making the time to join us today.
Can you hear me?
I can, yes, I can.
Good, perfect.
So we're just going to have a short session. We've already had a chance to hear about the HNDs and why to study at DGHE. We've also heard some sample lectures, and we've heard from admissions. So finally, we just wanted to hear from the students ourselves. So I'll pass it over to you. Maybe Constantina, you can lead us in this discussion.
Hi, yes, sure. So Sabaz and Mateus, do you want to take a few seconds to introduce yourself and the course you are studying at DGHE?
Okay, my name's Shabaz Tate. I'm studying at the moment the BSc Criminology and Criminal Justice top-up, and I was formerly doing the HND and HNC in Public Services. So I've been with DGHE for a long time now, about 3 years.
Great, amazing. How about you, Mateus?
Yes, so my name is Mateusz. I'm from Poland. I'm studying business management. I'm doing, right now, I'm doing my second year here at the DGHE.
Great, very good. So guys, what was the thing that made you choose to study at David Game Higher Education when you were looking for a place to study?
So for me, it was the flexibility and the daytimes, because other unis don't offer this. They're very full, you know, Monday to Friday. There's no ability for like childcare. For me, that's very important. And the fact that you guys do, you know, 2 or 3 days a week is very helpful. And the times are during working hours and the flexibility of the other, you know, evening and day course. So for me, it was
great. That's very nice to hear. Great. How about you, Mateus? Can you remember what made you start your course here at DGHE?
Yes, so one of the most important thing for me was the feedback from my friend who was study here, but he was study art and design. I'm not that kind of guy, you know, artist guy or something, but I was, you know, really interested in business management. He was telling me a lot of good, you know, positive things about, you know, about that college. So mostly that's why I decided, you know, for DGHE. So yeah.
Great, great. That's great to hear. If you could choose one thing to say about the course you are studying that is the most interesting or the one you enjoy the most, what would it be?
For me, it's the topics. They are so interesting. They are everything I want to study about criminology and criminal justice, and it's fun. You really feel engaging, you kind of relate to it, you can understand it, and it's amazing.
Great, that's lovely to hear.
Yes, so for me, sorry, because right now I'm trying to turn on my camera. Unfortunately, I don't know why I
That's
cannot.
okay, don't
So
worry about it.
sorry for that.
I was asking what is the most interesting, what you enjoy the most in your course?
Yes, so for me, the most interesting thing about my course is module, because mostly during our classes, we talk to each other and with our, lectures about the topic. So it's not like, because there's the difference between talking about something and just listening or speaking to someone. So for me, that is quite important, because during that conversation, we can share our observation and discuss our, our opinions, our point of views. So yeah, that's for me the most important, interesting thing.
Great, that's great to hear. We know a lot of our students have also other responsibilities. Some of you work, or some of you have families to take care. How do you balance your studies with your responsibilities? Has the DGHE been able to support you in this?
For me, they've been really, really good in supporting me, because I work 2 or 3 days a week. And sometimes, like, for example, I've had training. So, I communicate that over to my teacher and they give me work to catch up with and to do. And it's been so helpful. But for me, it's kind of like you still have to work and do your everyday stuff, but DGHE doesn't get in the way of that. They kind of, support you into do both. That's the good thing. So it's like, yeah, you can work and study, which is the nice thing about this college, I think, for me.
Yes, so for me, because currently I'm working as a head chef on the London restaurants, and for me it was quite difficult to combine study and work. But after talking with my manager and explain to him that it's gonna be just 2 days during the week, because that was quite important, because if I have to study, for example, 3 or 5 days, that's a bit too much. But 2 days. 2 days it was fine, because he knows that I really care about to develop myself, and so we just sit together when we organize my schedule, and it's already 1 year, so everything works perfect. So
amazing, that's great. Lovely to hear. So have you thought about when you graduate, so it's about you're finishing now a full bachelor degree with us, and Mateus, you have a little bit more time until you finish your HND. Have you thought about what is coming next for you?
For me, definitely, it's for me to further my education. And I've spoke to this about with my lecturers, because they, we kind of all touch on the subject. So for me to do postgraduate master's degree, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to that.
We wish you the best of luck. We are here to support you. I mean, you already know, but we're here to support everyone with whatever plans they have and ambitions for the future.
Yeah, because you have the in DGHE, we have this lovely guy, I keep forgetting his name, but he kind of works with us.
Yes,
yeah, Roger,
our careers. That's okay.
Yeah, careers
don't
advisor,
worry.
And he goes through everything with you. He does your, goes through your CV. He shows you what you can apply for. He talks to you, and he also helps with job applications and stuff. So it's amazing. We have the full support to, to further studies or work. So
definitely. What about you, Mateus? Have you thought about what's coming next?
Yes, of course. When I was, starting study, I was already started, to creating some plans for, for my future. I don't know, do I'm planning, some further, studies with DGHE, but at 100%, I want to use, the knowledge and the skills from, from our college, to open my own business. I was always dreaming about my own restaurants. So yeah, that's the plan.
We look forward then to coming to your restaurant.
Of course, always, guys.
So before we go, guys, do you have, if you could share any advice with the students who are considering to study with us at the DGHE?
I would say definitely choose this college, university. It's very flexible, they're very helpful, and I feel like they're the only uni, because I've been a previous uni student, they're the only uni that helps you actually to do your work and do it together and have discussions, because other places it's a very different style of learning. It's 5 days a week and you're on your own. So here it's a lot of support and a lot of help, and everyone is a small community and we all know each other, so it's lovely. It's just such a lovely place to be.
Yes, so from me, I know what was, hard for me at the, beginning. So I was a bit worried about, about my English, because I've got, some like barrier when I have to, use English, especially, in like college, because there's much different between, talking with your friends about, I don't know, football or sport or anything else than, than talking, in college. But what I have to say that all our lectures are really helpful. You don't have to be worried about, your English if you are not, Englishman. And the hardest part always is, to start, and then it's just easier. So just be confident and try. Yeah.
This is great. This is great to hear that from our students' perspective, that you have enjoyed your time here and you have received all of the support to succeed to your course and to your future. Thank you so much, Sabaz and Mateus, for joining us today, and everyone who has joined us for today's virtual workshop. We have on the chat our email and telephone for anyone that would like to communicate further with us. And we hope we will talk to each and one of you for your applications to start with us in May. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank
Bye,
you,
everyone.
Constantina. Thanks
Enjoy
again,
the day.
everyone. Take care.
Thank you very
Just
much.
to say
Bye-bye.
for anyone who's not on the chat, if you want to get in touch with David Game Higher Education, please just email us at info@dghe.ac.uk or give us a call 0203 220 0347. Thanks so much. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.
Bye.